Dodger Baseball. KTLA Sports presents Los Angeles Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers take on the Texas Rangers. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be. The Dodgers and the Texas Rangers in their brief two-game series coming to an end tonight. Each team a reflection of the other. Each team with a very high-priced payroll. Each team trailing badly. The Rangers behind Seattle, trailing by 7. The Dodgers, as they go into the game, trailing the Giants by 8. The pitchers for tonight, Tom Candiotti, who does have a record against the American League from those days when he was over there, and he pitched well against the Rangers, 4-1 lifetime. Julio Santana, a big disappointment to Texas last year, hoping to be rejuvenated, and we'll see how he goes tonight. So it's the Dodgers and the Rangers, and after this, the Dodgers move down the road to Anaheim and San Diego. We'll get to the starting lineups. We'll have it all coming up right after this. Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By the Southern California Ford dealers, home of 5 of the 10 best-selling vehicles in America. See your Ford dealer today. By Farmer John, who provides Southern California with its only strictly fresh, I mean strictly fresh, corn-fed pork and pork products. Farmer John. By Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Jack in the Box Restaurant. Watch out, Mac. Jack's back. A glorious evening here at Dodger Stadium as we await the start of Game 2 between the Dodgers and the Rangers. And both clubs pretty interested in what's going on the scoreboard. And the Dodgers got at least some encouraging news. But that Seattle victory over the Giants, good for the Dodgers, bad news for the Texas Rangers. Anaheim knocked off Colorado, good news for the Dodgers. So when the Dodgers take the field tonight, they know they have an opportunity to get into the standings. And talking about the standings, you can see as of the moment, Colorado 4.5, the Dodgers 7.5. It'll either go back to 8 or jump ahead to 7, and San Diego 10.5 games back. So those are the numbers as we await the start of the game. We mentioned in our opening remarks that there is a great deal between these two teams, like either side of a mirror image. For instance, the Rangers have used 51 different batting orders in their first 79 games. Bill Russell has used 55 different starting lineups, and for that matter, 37 of the last 43. So Russell, with another lineup, takes it back to the dugout. Talking about the dugout, Johnny Oates penciling in. Dodger Stadium is the 24th ballpark the Rangers have played in since moving to Texas in 1972. And one of the strong points for Texas, their pinch hitting, third highest in the league. The Dodgers taking the field. And we have a chance to set the Texas Ranger lineup for you. A lineup that has not been nearly as offensive productive as it was last year. Mark McLemore at second base. Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge they call him, behind the plate. And then Rusty Greer in left. Juan Gonzalez in right. Old friend Will Clark at first. Dean Palmer at third. Domingo Cedeno at shortstop. Benji Gill sitting down. They were very unhappy with his play. Damon Buford in center field. And Julio Santana on the mound. Tom Candiotti, who spent almost 9 years in the American League. And he had a 4-1 record against the Rangers. But a lot of people have come through Texas since Candiotti left the American League. So it's a totally different cast of characters. We were talking about the Rangers, talking about the fact that they are not scoring as they did last year. In fact, right now, they're on a pace to score less than the runs they scored last year by over 100. Now, since the DH arrived in the American League, there have been 20 teams that had their scoring decline by at least 100 runs. Some of them even won 20 fewer games in the season of the 100-run plunge. And that includes 6 teams that won at least 15 fewer. So Johnny Oates knows that his ball club was at one stage, when we got into June, 1 game behind Seattle. Then all of a sudden, they lost 7 straight, 18 out of 23, and they find themselves 7 games back. John, of course, played here for the Dodgers in 1977, 78, 79, 2 winners in 77 and 78. In fact, in the 78 squad, he hit .307. So welcome back, Johnny O. Nice to have you with us, sitting there with Bucky Dent. Mark McLemore, Ivan Rodriguez, and Rusty Greer against Tom Candiotti. Wobbler low, ball 1. First thing that strikes you when you see McLemore, he is built more like a catcher or an outfielder rather than a middle infielder. He's about 210 pounds. He does a good job. He needed rotator cuff surgery after the 1995 season, so he doesn't quite have the arm that he used to have. 1-1. That's a strike. McLemore facing Tom Candiotti. McLemore loves to run. This year, however, he was picked off first last night, and he's been caught 5 out of 7. They expected that he would steal upwards of 25 to 30. Whether he does or not remains to be seen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to Guerrero. Wilson gobbles it up. 1 away. So Guerrero, who's playing exceptionally well, handles the first ball, and now Ivan Rodriguez. One of the features of this little 2-game series, the fact that we're looking at 2 of the better catchers around, Ivan Rodriguez and Mike Piazza. And it brings back historical matchups. That's how they are doing in the All-Star voting. Mike number 1. But there have been some great catchers like Johnny Bench versus Thurman Munson in the 1976 series. The Reds sweeping the Yankees in 4. Ball hit back to Candiotti, and that'll do it to Ivan. Just thinking about the names conjures up great moments in baseball. Johnny Bench versus Thurman Munson. Johnny Bench versus Carlton Fisk. Tim McCarver versus Elston Howard. Yogi Berra versus Roy Campanella. And then if you want to go way back, Bill Dickey and Gabby Hartnett. Some great matchups. And tonight, Johnny Oates and company featuring Ivan Rodriguez against Mike Piazza. Rusty Greer, everybody's kind of a player. If you had a ball club, you would love to have a Rusty Greer. A tremendous hustler, delivered most of the clutch hits on the team 2 years ago. Interesting point on Rusty Greer. He was sidelined with a rib injury for 15 games last September. When he went out, the Rangers were leading by 9, and all of a sudden, the lead was down to 2. When he came back, he hit a home run in his second at-bat. Texas went on to win 6 of its last 8 games. That's how important and valuable Rusty Greer is. The Rangers, in fact, everybody else, still in shock over the home run by Bobby Witt. You know, last year, there were only 111 home runs hit at Dodger Stadium. That's the fewest of any Major League ballpark. 30% less than the Major League average. A bouncer back to Candiotti, and that will do it for the Rangers. And at the end of half an inning, Rangers nothing, Dodgers coming up. Rangers failed to score in the first inning. Right-hander Julio Santana is warming up, and as he does, it gives us a chance to take a look at the Dodger lineup, and no dramatic change. Butler, then Guerrero and Piazza, followed by Karras, Mondesi, and Zeal. Todd Hollandsworth in his second game since being called back from Albuquerque. Greg Gagne, and Tom Candiotti. Julio Franklin Santana. He's from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. Julio signed as a free agent 7 years ago. Stayed down in Oklahoma City, and the report on him last year was very frustrating. Coming out of the minor leagues, he was the Rangers' top pitching prospect, but they referred to his performance as indifferent at AAA. They didn't even call him up in September. And when he did show up to camp, he was out of shape. They felt he made no progress whatsoever. However, this year, since he does have good upside potential, he's been pitching. With a record of 3-3, but an ERA of over 6. 8 starts, 8 relief assignments. Red Butler will start it off. Right, 0-1. Butler hitting .311. You can see that on-base average. That's so important for the leadoff man, and he has done an exceptional job. A little number over the mound. Going to be a tough play for anybody, and McLemore can't make it. The chances of McLemore making it were about 1 out of 50. Not only because it was a tough play, but he was going away from it. Even if he comes up with the ball, he's heading in that direction. And, of course, Butler flying down the line. Mac never would have gotten him. So Butler can afford to grin. Look at that. And that means so much. 14 infield hits. You take those away, and he's not close to hitting 300. There's his old buddy Will Clark. They were teammates together at San Francisco. Wilton Guerrero with an 8-game hitting streak. Ball 1. Behind the plate, Pudge Rodriguez, and you just don't run on him. He shoots him down. He probably has the best arm in all of baseball. He has completely stopped any kind of a running game in the American League. He has picked off 5 base runners this year. That's on the chalk and found. So it gives us a chance to talk about Rodriguez. He has picked off 4 men at first, another at second. The last time, well, let's put it this way, 45% of the base runners he throws out. Last year was almost 49%. He's a remarkable player. He is only 5'9" and weighs well over 200 pounds. But he's more like a statue than someone who should be called Pudge. Absolutely phenomenal. 5 Gold Gloves. 1-1. Butler has stolen 10 out of 15, but it certainly doesn't figure that he would do any running against Rodriguez. Go over the signs again, says Pudge, after checking in the dugout. See whether they want pitch out. Look where he's sitting, way on the outside part of the plate. The bunt in the air, foul, out of play. There he is. By the time he was 25 years old, he had won 5 Gold Gloves. Right there with Johnny Bench. Selected as a starter 5 straight All-Star games. He is truly a remarkable player. And again, he wears that extension, as you can see, to cover the right shoulder. Piazza has not done that. One and 2 the count to Wilton Guerrero. Interleague play, game number 8. The Rangers have won 5 of 7. The Dodgers have won 3 of 7. Fouled away. So Guerrero up there hacking, and then you get to the law firm of Piazza and Karros. And what a firm that has been. So there's Mike with Karras to follow. Look what they have done in the month of June. One and two to Guerrero. Karras waiting his turn. Bill Guerrero couldn't bunt and now strikes out. One away, and here comes Piazza. Mike Piazza, the top National League vote getter. In the 7 Interleague games, Piazza is hitting exactly .500 against the American League. He's also tied with Eric Karros and Edgar Martinez. And Piazza, all by himself, has just exploded in the month of June. Ball one. Piazza this month, look at that, 9 home runs, 26 RBIs. 3 years ago, he had 28 RBIs in the month of June. And also, Piazza, as he stands at the plate, has 100 hits. It's the earliest in his career. His 100th hit last night was a home run. 1-0. Ball two, look out. That is some arm, isn't it? He just throws a blur down there. 2 balls and no strikes. So Ivan Rodriguez, sharp shooting and trying to nail Butler. One thing about as we look in at Ivan Rodriguez, he is eligible for free agency after this season. So it looked like Texas is going to have to sign him to one of those all the land west of the Mississippi contracts. Fouled away. 89-mile-an-hour fastball on Mike Brito's gun. Julio Santana. The count to Piazza. No score. Bottom of the first inning. We're just starting. Bouncer down to shortstop. Cedeno the feed to McLemore, and they double up Piazza. And the lack of the bunt ruined the inning. And at the end of an inning, no score. And Rene Cardenas bringing you all the action in Spanish on the KTLA secondary audio program channel and on KWKW radio 1330 AM. The only 2 people I know who can pronounce Popocatépetl properly. Chow down. A full house here at Dodger Stadium. Hot dogs to go. Crowd still filing in, father and son, play horsey or piggyback, whatever you want to call it, and hope you'll include us in your plans after the All-Star break. Remember, the Dodgers will go to Anaheim Wednesday and Thursday, San Diego for the weekend, then the break, and they'll be back here Thursday night against the Giants. The MVP last year, Juan Gonzalez. And then on January the 28th of 1997, he was playing in Puerto Rican winter ball. And he ripped up his right thumb. And that really wrecked the plans of the Texas Rangers. Gonzalez has fought his way back. 17 home runs, 57 RBIs. So even though he missed so many games, he still leads the club in home runs and RBIs. Gonzalez has some remarkable background notes. The one that jumps at you, he averages better than an RBI a game. And this year, he's doing the same. 55 games, 57 RBIs. One of the truly outstanding young players in the game. High fly ball into deep left center field. Butler to the wall. It is gone. Juan Gonzalez hits his 18th and made it look easy. Of course, last year all he did was hit 47 home runs and 144 runs batted in. He is truly a superstar, and he gets paid that way too, and he should.
First baseman, number 22, Will Clark.
Juan Gonzalez, a torn ligament in his right thumb has slowed him up, but he is coming back with a roar. And the batter now is Will Clark. Right. Will Clark's last game that he played in the National League was here at Dodger Stadium when the Giants lost to the Dodgers on the final day of the '93 season, and they fell out of first place tie with Atlanta in the National League West. Will has been struggling, even though his numbers read awfully well. 333, 7 home runs, 26 ribbies this year, way out in front of that. He hit a spell. He went 51 at-bats without an RBI. But he is a wonderful hitter. Although he has lost some power, they say that his bat speed has slowed down considerably. Consequently, he can't get through to drive the ball, and his home run numbers have fallen off from a high of 35 down to 13 last year. But then again, nobody gets younger. He's 33. Those faces that Will made, his William Nuschler Clark, N-U-S-C-H-L-E-R. Foul ball. And when he was with the Giants, they used to always tease him about having a Nuschler look. Tremendous competitor and still a wonderful fielder around first base. Last year he made only 4 errors. Will this year has only made 2. Last year, Clark lost 46 games to injuries. This year, he has missed 12 games. 6 times a National League All-Star. And he drives it over Mondesi's head, and Raul picks it off. Nice play. Meanwhile, as we see Gonzalez sitting back and relaxing, we can take another look at the home run. See, that batter was almost parallel to the ground, and he had to go out to get the knuckleball, but he's so big and strong. Look at that, lunging at it. He is 6'3" and 220. He is quite a player. So it's 1-0 Rangers. Only the 4th home run allowed by Tom Candiotti. You can see smelling salts. It's warm, and for one reason or another, he needed it to clear his head. I would think Candiotti needed the smelling salts after facing Gonzalez. In there. Dean Palmer with only 7 home runs, and he now is a problem. The Rangers have to figure out what to do with him. High fly ball to center, pretty deep. Butler on the track makes the play with about 5 feet to the wall. So a couple of well-hit outs, and with 2 down, the batter will be Domingo Cedeno. The problem about Palmer is, what do you do with him? He's not hitting. Do you sign him to a long-term contract, or do you risk losing him to free agency after this year? I mean, there's a guy who had 38 home runs and 107 RBIs last year. But then he ripped up the bicep tendon in his arm in '95, and he's been hurting a bit. Ball 1. Domingo Cedeno. Johnny Oates says he's doing well. He's hitting the ball, handling the chances, turning the double play. But will he be consistent? A bunt. Candiotti tries to shovel it, and Domingo has beaten the play. So Cedeno a bunt single. So Candiotti has given up a home run and the bunt.
Center fielder.
Best he could do is that, but nothing on the toss.
Buford.
So Domingo standing at first, and Damon Buford coming up. We saw Rod Dado down in the field last night. We knew there had to be a former SC player somewhere in the neighborhood. Here he is, and of course his daddy, a famous name in SC history, as well as a former major league outfielder. And the first thing Damon Buford did last night was get his glove above the wall in the second inning to take a home run away from Eric Karros. When Damon was in the National League, he struggled. He didn't hit at all. And we really don't know whether he's going to hit this year. Buford checks in hitting only .211. He can sure go get him. Almost had him leaning the wrong way. Almost picked him off. Cedeno 1 out of 2 in stolen bases. And you would expect Oates to run him against a knuckleballer. One ball, one strike, 2 out. And the Dodgers pitch out. They were expecting him to go 2-1. So now Johnny Oates, after chatting with Bucky Dent, decides to put on a play. This is the manager's count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Francis Ford Coppola visiting town. Wow. Nice of you to drop by. Okay. Buford checks back in. He played for Baltimore and the Mets and hit about .213. And then he hit .283 for the Rangers last year, and they got their hopes up. But Damon is only hitting .211 now. Darrell Hamilton, now playing for the Giants, had the job in center field last year. The Rangers thought he was slowing down, so they dealt off Hamilton and opened the job to Buford. But for Buford, when you look at his numbers, .211. He has to, what is it, fish bait or whatever? Cut bait? Fish or cut bait, yeah. What do you know from a city kid? 3-1 the count. Cedeno at first, 2 down, 1-0 Rangers, second inning. See if he goes on a run and hit play. Yep. Not much of a throw. That's probably one of the many problems about a knuckleball. It is hard to throw. It is hard to hit. It is hard to catch. And it's also hard to catch and throw. I mean, you catch a wobbly, you don't really have much of a grip, and that was a poor throw from Piazza. The knuckleball started sometime yesterday and arrived here today. It was about 70 miles an hour. 3-2 to Buford. Got him. So a knuckleball just floats in to end the inning. The Rangers settle for the run on the home run by Gonzalez. 2 hits, a man left. Going to the bottom of the second inning. Look at that one. Arch belonged to Mike Brito, he of the speed gun behind home plate. And as you can see, the pitcher's name in the lower left-hand corner, Tom Candiotti. And there's Buford's at bat. And you can see all of the pitches, KB, knuckleball, and Buford with the K next to his name, 58S. The 58 was the last pitch that got Buford. And he will do that for the entire game and then write a report based on all of those numbers. You can see the spelling, the screwball, even though the screwball should be SC instead of SK. So there's Tom Candiotti, and we're going to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Rangers. Eric Karros, Raul Mondesi, and Todd Zeile. Right. In the last 25 games, Eric Karros is hitting .323 with 8 home runs and 24 runs batted in. That goes back to the 5th of June. 1-2. Even though they have not shown any improvement at all, if you look at June the 5th and study the Dodgers before and after, you'd be surprised. The Dodgers before June the 5th averaged 3.5 runs a game. Since June the 5th, they've averaged over 5 runs a game. But as they say on Broadway, how'd they come out? Nowhere. 1 down. Hey, by the way, a chance to catch exciting baseball action and great special events all summer long here at Dodger Stadium. Advance tickets can be ordered. All you have to do is call 213-224-1-HIT or visit the Dodger Stadium Advance Ticket Office or any ETM ticket machine at selected Hughes, Pavilions, or Gelson's. The most exciting player the Dodgers have, I think, is right here. Boy, he is fun to watch. 4-1. Mondesi is great, whether he's swinging and striking out or hitting home runs or hitting extra bases, running after balls, throwing balls that he's caught. That's going to go foul. Raul 2 for 4 last night with a double, a stolen base, and a home run. He's hit in 18 of the last 23, even though he has that swollen little finger on his left hand, plus having to come out and miss a game because of a sore shoulder. It's that time. Sellout crowd tonight. 2-1. Yeah, that fastball got up in the high rent district at 90. I don't follow tennis, so I don't know the tennis player's name, but I heard an interesting thing on the radio coming to the ballpark. Ground ball up the middle, and Cedeno gets him. Nice play. 2 down. Anyway, you know how we're showing the speed, 90-mile-an-hour fastball? They were talking about some player at Wimbledon today whose serve was clocked at 138 miles an hour. Now, how in the world do you ever hit a tennis ball going 138 miles an hour and then hit it over the net and keep it inside the lines? Wow. Here is Zeile, who was saying to himself last night, how in the world, as he struck out 3 times, little ground ball to McLemore, so he's done, as are the Dodgers, and at the end of 2, Rangers 1, Dodgers nothing. The lineup card in the Texas dugout is more than just another lineup card. It's almost a work of art. This was last night's lineup card as made by Jerry Narron, the third base coach. Notice the calligraphy, how beautifully done it is. But here's something interesting. Look at the name. There isn't a vowel down there, and we'll tell you why. Jerry Narron feels the only time he puts an extra player's name fully on the card is if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Too late. So Julio Santana gets a base hit. So if you look, for instance, Radinsky, Dreifert, all of the other names, he leaves out all the vowels. But let's say if he was writing Eddie Murray's name in as the extra man, since Eddie is a cinch to go in the Hall of Fame, he'd spell out Murray. That's Jerry Narron. Why did he do to that? Why are the lineup cards a thing of beauty? Well, he was impressed the way his manager, Johnny Oates, made out the lineup cards. So when John assigned him the task, he studied a little bit as to how to make it look better, nicer. And it's a beauty. And it might very well be that Jerry Narron's handiwork will wind up in the Hall of Fame, because the Rangers and the Giants played the first interleague game, according to the quirk of the schedule and the time zones. So it could be that the lineup, written so beautifully by Jerry Narron, will wind up in Cooperstown. Anyway, thought you'd enjoy looking at it. McLemore grounded out in the first inning. Big June. And he slaps that down the left field line. Hollingsworth over to get it. Santana will stop at second. So the Rangers are in business. First and second, nobody out. 4 hits, 1 run for the Rangers. And now here comes Pudge. Ivan Rodriguez. So 2 on, nobody out. 1-0 Texas, top of the third. Knuckleball strike. Ivan from Puerto Rico. And he's only 25. He's already conquered the world. In the dirt. Talk about a youngster improving. Just look at that. The steady rise to the top. He's a remarkable player any way you look at it. 1-1. Knuckleball fooling him, and the count 1-2. Donna Candiotti in her usual seat, front row directly behind home, second deck. She's like Mike Brito. She keeps track of every pitch that hubby Tom makes. She also manicures his nails, especially on game day. 1-2. Little foul behind the plate. Piazza coming back. I'd love to see that pitch again if we could. Maybe it was an optical illusion. He had thrown Pudge a couple of dandy knuckleballs. And then that pitch, Rodriguez didn't come close to getting around. Look at that move inside. His elbows were almost touching his chest. So it just ate him up. So Pudge Rodriguez fouls out to his other catcher opponent. Mike Piazza, now Rusty Greer. They were talking about the catch Jim Edmonds of Anaheim made this year. Brilliant catch. Greer made a catch that was truly remarkable, and it saved a perfect game. Kenny Rogers a couple of years ago. 2 down on the bobble. They move up second and third with 2 out. Now that brings up Gonzalez with the left-hand hitting Clark on deck, so take your pick. Gonzalez homered in the second inning. Clark almost hit one over Mondesi's head. 1-0 Rangers, top of the third. Well, when you have Rodriguez and Gonzalez in the same game, you could take about an hour just to talk about their accomplishments. He's one of the youngest of all time to reach 100 RBIs 3 times. I mean, he has his name with DiMaggio, Williams, Cobb, Ott. He had 47 home runs last year. That puts him up there with all the huge power hitters. Ball 1. Youngest player to hit 200 home runs in a career. His name is right in there. He did it when he was 26. And his name is with Ott, Matthews, Fox, Mantle, Aaron, etc. Quite a package. Juan Gonzalez, he's only 27. 2-0. And Juan's from Puerto Rico. I can't imagine the Texas management enjoying the winter and the thought that Juan was the MVP and getting the call on the 28th of January that he ruined his thumb in Puerto Rico. Boy, just couldn't wait for it. What was that old Johnny Mercer song? Sent for you yesterday and here you come today. 58 miles an hour. Two down, runners at second and third. Big guys putting up big numbers. Ball 3. In the golf swing, they talk about having the club parallel to the ground. Juan Gonzalez gets his bat parallel to the ground. Well, he keeps it still, but the Dodgers decide, why are we fooling around with him anyway? So the bases are loaded for Will Clark.
Number 22, Will Clark.
Will Clark, in case you wonder, has 3 grand slams in his career. They were all in the National League. 2 against Philadelphia, 1 at Houston. Ball 1. So Santana an infield single, McLemore a single to left, then the foul ball and the ground ball, and now the intentional walk to Gonzalez. Right. 1-1. Remember when he was with San Francisco, the nickname was the Thrill. Will the Thrill. 2 balls, 1 strike. Clark is the player representative for Texas, so they have high regard for him. Big man at the campus of Mississippi State. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out with the bases loaded. You have Santana at third, McLemore at second, and Gonzalez at first. 1-0 Texas, 3rd inning. Little ground ball to Karras. He'll do it himself. Well, the Rangers are still struggling in scoring runs. They lead 3, and at the end of 2.5 innings, 1-0 Texas. Juan Gonzalez home run in the 2nd inning is the difference. Rangers 1, Dodgers 0, bottom of the 3rd. The Dodgers will leave and go down to Anaheim tomorrow night on Fox Sports West 2, Thursday and Friday night right here on KTLA Channel 5, and the same goes for Sunday afternoon. And then we'll come home for a 4-game series with the Giants. Thursday and Saturday will be Fox Sports West 2, and KTLA will be here Friday night with San Francisco. And then we go out on the road again. A brief look at the schedule, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Blue skies overhead, and Todd Hollingsworth at the plate. Ball 1. Todd coming back from Albuquerque, where he was hitting about .470. Struck out twice, fouled out, hit back to the box. 0 for 4 last night. 2-0. I would think 2 of the 2 toughest things to judge in baseball. Number 1, a high school or a college player using an aluminum bat, and number 2, judging talent coming out of Albuquerque or Colorado Springs, any place high up. Maybe Brett Butler could do it. And that's driven to the gap in right center field. So Hollingsworth hits the wall on the fly and has himself a stand-up double. And that was last year's Rookie of the Year swing. Perhaps a prayer or two was answered there. So Hollingsworth, a line drive double to right, and he got all of that. Knee-high fastball. Adios. So Hollingsworth drills the wall, and the batter will be Gagne, followed by Candiotti. So welcome back, Todd. Gagne 1 for 3 last night with a double against Bobby Witt. Greg has been a much better hitter on the road than at home. But you know what? As far as he's concerned, Los Angeles is just another road stop. There's nothing really home about it. Greg's family stays in Massachusetts. So it's tough for him. It's just one hotel room after another. Right. Gagne hitting in the 230s here. And when he's really on the road, hitting .314 for whatever reason. I remember when Gil Hodges came out here with the Dodgers, and his wife just did not want to live here. She wanted to stay with her friends in Brooklyn. That's a cracked bat fly ball, believe it or not. Tagging up is Hollingsworth, and he'll move to third. So Gagne hit it off the end of the bat and hit it deep enough to get a man over. So Candiotti is the batter, and that's an interesting combination. Candiotti has been very good with the bunt, but since he has been relieving, he doesn't have much of a chance. You may remember, however, he squeezed in a run recently in San Francisco. And the first thought on everyone's mind, will he try to squeeze in Hollingsworth? The infield's up. Ball one. Always on a squeeze play, it's not the hitter, it's the runner. He's going to be the one to tell us. We always have split screens of the pitcher and the runner at first. But in this instance, it's the man at third who's going to give us a tip-off. He's coming. There's the squeeze. He scores. And Candiotti is going to be out at first. Only because he jumped at the bag. So Hollingsworth is in a 1-1 tie. Yes, says Donna, that's my man. That might be an RBI to others, but it is bread and butter to the Candiotti. But if he hadn't jumped at the last minute, he would have had a base hit, I believe. Take a look at it from above. Hollingsworth, watch him now. He'll be coming. There he comes. And then Candy dropped it beautifully. Santana just stopped, and Rodriguez had to go way up the line, and it was very close. So here comes the man to be squeezed and hugged and high-fived in the dugout, and we have a 1-1 tie. Ball one to Butler. So Candiotti did his job. And the Dodgers have tied it up. Almost embarrassed. Little foul off third out of play. I guess in a sense that might be the difference between the two leagues. I think Piazza talking about how annoyed Rodriguez was having to go way up the line. He kind of threw the ball angrily to Will Clark. 1-1. Ball two, 2-1. So if indeed there is a difference between the two leagues, with the DH you see a lot of home runs. In the National League you see what you just got. Two and one to Butler. held up, but it's a strike. 2-2. Gonzalez homers in the second. Candiotti squeezes in Hollingsworth in the third. To the backstop. 3-2. And out there beyond the outfield, Purple Mountain's Majesty. We are so lucky to be here and so thankful as well. Oh, is it pretty out there. In all their glory. Little nubber, but Santana's on this one. So the Dodgers get the run. Ross will be along in a minute. At the end of 3, a 1-1 tie.
Candiotti, who squeezed home the tying run in the Dodger third inning. Palmer applied the deep center his first time up tonight. In a slump right now. Here's a guy who had 38 home runs last year for the Rangers. And he lays off that one, 2 balls and no strikes. Till last night, Johnny Oates had not been in Dodger Stadium for 10 years. At that time, he was with the Cubs. Last played with the Dodgers 18 years ago. Palmer pops it up. Hollingsworth going down into foul territory and will not have a play. Texas had 9 players on the disabled list earlier this season, including Juan Gonzalez, Will Clark, Mickey Tettleton, Ken Hill, and Roger Pavlik. And yet they hung in. They stayed 6 or 7 games over 500. But Johnny said once they started getting healthy, well, the Rangers haven't been able to put it all together. And Candiotti's behind Dean Palmer, 3-1. Oates said we played some unbelievable good baseball. In the same game, we played some unbelievably bad baseball. And we're in a streak right now where it seems like some part of our game lets down every night. Ripped to left. And Hollingsworth looks up, and Dean Palmer has hit his 8th home run of the year, and the Rangers are back ahead 2-1. So Candiotti, who had surrendered 3 home runs this year, in a little over 43 innings, gives up 2 tonight. Leadoff homers to Gonzalez in the second and to Palmer here in the fourth. And the Rangers, trying to get to 500 with a win, are back in front. Dean Palmer had 107 RBIs last year, although he only had 213 with men in scoring position, but he unloaded that time. And here's a base hit over third for Domingo Cedeno. Hollingsworth has to track that down. And Cedeno has another extra base hit for the Rangers. A second look at Dean Palmer's home run. 3-1 pitch, and it was ripped, and Todd Hollingsworth took 2 steps and said, I know it's gone. I've got no play. Palmer had only hit 2 home runs his last 43 games. And he bashes one tonight. Now the double by Cedeno. Domingo had singled his first time up. So Candiotti has now given up 6 hits. Still nobody out. Here's Damon Buford. Damon back home in Southern California, trying to fight an over 18 slump. He's had 1 hit in his last 26 at-bats. And he takes a strike 0-1. Damon has never had more than 145 at-bats in a big league season going into this year. Daniel at second, nobody out. 2-1 Rangers. And the pitch is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Hope Park will pitch for the Dodgers tomorrow night at Anaheim against the Angels' Jason Dixon. 7:35 start. We'll have that for you on Fox Sports West 2. Nice slow knuckler, 1-2. And then Thursday night, back here on KTLA. 7:05 start. Hideo Nomo goes against Alan Watson in Anaheim. 2 strikes to Damon Buford, who's always had trouble hitting right-handed hitters, or right-handed pitchers. And he lunges for one and strikes out here. And for Candiani, his second strikeout of the game. And he's gotten Buford both times. Last night, Bobby Wood hit the first home run by an American League pitcher in 25 years. Tonight, Julio Santana got an infield single. He's coming up now. And here's Buford chasing one outside to strike out. Cedeno at second, 1 man out on the top of the 4th inning. Nice block by Piazza, and it keeps Cedeno at second base. Congratulations to Mike, the second year in a row, the top vote getter of the National League All-Star balloting. The rest of the National League reserves and pitchers will be named tomorrow. Two to 1 Texas in the 4th inning. Santana takes a strike, and the count 1-1. We'll see the Rangers in 2 games at Arlington the 1st of September. That's foul, 1-2. Johnny Oates was saying his Rangers have been playing in spurts. He said, we'll play 3 or 4 innings, we'll make all the plays we're supposed to, and then something bad will happen, and we cave in. We are just not getting by with any mistakes right now. They were 1 game behind Seattle, and less than 2 weeks later, they were 7 behind. They got swept in a 4-game series a couple weeks ago by the Mariners at the ballpark in Arlington. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Texas pitcher Santana with Mark McLemore on deck. Sellout crowd on hand. The holiday fireworks to follow after the game here at Dodger Stadium tonight, courtesy of Winchell Donuts. Now the 2-2 pitch. And that's a slow topper to third. Zeal charges on to Karras. That's the second out, and over to third goes Cedeno. Mark McLemore comes on. He has bounced out to Guerrero and singled. The Texas leadoff hitters have been last in the American League most of the year in batting average, on-base percentage, runs, and stolen bases. McLemore hit 7th or 8th most of last year for the Rangers and got on base about 40% of the time. So they said, well, let's try him in spring training, the top of the order. And they have left him there. He was out with knee surgery in May and has returned. Mark takes a strike. McLemore only hit him .237. Dean Palmer had gone 27 games without a home run in May and June this year, the longest drought of his career. And he snapped it with a 449-foot home run against the Padres at Arlington, the second longest in that park's history. And tonight his home run here in the 4th off Candiani, giving the Rangers a 2-1 lead. 1 ball, 1 strike to the former Angel, Mark McLemore. Bud Rodriguez is on deck. When the Dodgers bat in their 4th, Guerrero, Piazza, and Karras against Santana. And that misses, ball 2, 2-1. Six hits for Texas, only 2 hits for the Dodgers. Bounce out to Guerrero. So the Rangers settle for 1 run on Palmer's homer. And Cedeno on it with a double with nobody out and left him at third. At the end of 3.5, Rangers 2, Dodgers 1. A sold-out Dodger Stadium. Tonight's Outtown Scoreboard is brought to you by Home Base. Interleague play continuing. Seattle just clobbered San Francisco today. Chuck Finley pitched a great game for the Angels of Denver, beat the Rockies. Montreal beat Toronto 2-1 for the second day in a row. Cubs ripped the Royals. Oakland came from 4 runs down to beat San Diego. Boston has flattened Florida. And Detroit beat the Mets. We'll have the rest of those interleague scores in a moment. Wilton Guerrero, who struck out his first time up, leads it off against Julio Santana and takes outside ball 1. Wilton's had a good homestand. Hit .350. And comes in with an 8-game hitting streak tonight. A battle of Dominicans here. Julio Santana out of San Pedro de Macorís. Hamlets have produced so many Major League players. Popped up foul. Palmer will have a play. And that is the first out. Completing the home base interleague scoreboard tonight, Baltimore has defeated Philadelphia. Cincinnati ripped Milwaukee. Atlanta beat the Yankees. Ryan Klesko had a game-winning 2-run homer there. Pittsburgh beating the White Sox. Now it's a final. Cleveland over Houston. And St. Louis shuts out Minnesota. Here the Rangers lead 2-1 over the Dodgers. Here's Piazza, grounded into his league-leading 14th double play of the season in the first inning. He pops it up to the right field side. Coming over is Gonzalez. Juan will have a play and makes the catch. So 2 men out of the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's Karras. He struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. The Rangers got 75 victories from their starting pitchers last year. Their problem was the bullpen. Their relievers blew 17 saves last year. Texas took a lead to the 9th inning in 11 games that they wound up losing. So they went out and got John Weddle in the offseason and hopefully change their fortunes, and yet here they are, a game under 500 as they play their 80th game of the year. 1 ball, 1 strike to Karras. Eric is at .365 on this homestand. He comes in with a 6-game hitting streak. Piazza hit safely in 7 straight. Guerrero at 8 in a row, and all over hitless tonight. Karras had a super month of June. Career high 26 RBI. Breaking ball, slugged to left center field. Did he get all of it? He certainly did. And the Dodgers have tied the Rangers. And for Karras, a club-leading 17th home run. July and the end of June, red hot, and it's 2-2. For Karras, 31st RBI in the last 37 games. Looked like Santana gave him a breaking ball, and Eric drilled it. He has homered now 8 times in the last 18 games. Left it over the plate, gone. You know, the Dodgers have scored about 40% of their runs this year because of home runs. Here's Mondesi, rolled to short his first time up. Outside. The Dodgers reached the halfway point in their schedule last night, and it's coincidental. But halfway through the season, Piazza, Karras, and Mondesi all had 16 home runs, all had 47 RBIs. And Eric just changed that. Mondesi slices one to the right field corner. That's got extra base potential. Off the railing, Gonzalez runs it down. Here's Mondesi around second. The Stallion goes for 3. The relay, they might get him. He is out at third base, says Joe West. So Mondesi gambled and lost. He got a double. He didn't get a triple. But Karras hit a home run. At the end of 4, a 2-2 tie. Well, Mondesi got a low fastball from Julio Santana and slugged it down the right field line. Juan Gonzalez got to it in a hurry. Executed it perfectly. Hit the cutoff man, Mark McLemore. Mondesi goes for 3. McLemore guns it across to Palmer. A little offline, but Dean gets back and makes the tag. 2 outs in the inning. That's not a bad gamble by Mondesi. He took a good play by the Rangers to get him. And barely at that. And I don't know. Well, Joe West thought he got him. 2-2 tie then, thanks to Karras' 17th home run. Now in the Rangers' fifth, Pudge Rodriguez, Rusty Greer, and Juan Gonzalez to challenge Tom Candiotti. Twice tonight, the Rangers have taken a one-run lead. The Dodgers to come back. Rodriguez fighting a 1-for-15 slump at the moment. Bounced back to Candy and fouled out the Piazza in his first 2 trips. Pudge is leading the American League in hits this year. He's at 110. 9 more than Edgar Martinez of Seattle going into play today. And Pudge third in hits and in batting average, that is. Always known for his defense. And a pretty good offensive gun, too. 1 ball, 1 strike. Johnny Oates had said he wanted to rest Rodriguez as much as he could. And they talked about it. And yet last year, Rodriguez had 639 at-bats, which was the most ever for Major League catcher, breaking Johnny Bench's record. Driven to right center and deep. Butler going back, and the Rangers may reclaim the lead. They have on another solo home run off Tom Candiotti, the 3rd of the night for Texas. And for Rodriguez, his 11th, and it's 3-2 Texas. So Candiotti has given up as many home runs tonight in 4+ innings as he's given up in 42 innings this season. This is the first time this year the Texas Rangers have homered in 6 straight games, and they're really putting to it tonight with Gonzalez, Palmer, and Rodriguez going deep. Here is Rusty Greer. He's twice grounded out. Greer is a gritty player, to say the least. Last year, Rusty crashed into the wall 10 times to catch balls for Texas. And Candiotti falls behind him 2-0. Darren Driver gets up in the Dodger bullpen. Rusty had a period in June in which he reached base in 9 consecutive plate appearances and 15 of 16. He batted .667 in 6 games. He takes a strike. Since 1995, Greer has won a game in the Rangers' last at bat with a home run 9 times. Grounded again to Guerrero. So Rusty's hit 3 ground balls, and he's 0 for 3, and that's 1 out in the Ranger 5th inning. Pudge Rodriguez had a career-high 19 home runs last year with 86 RBIs. And now he's got 11 home runs with the 1 tonight to the opposite field. All right, here's Juan Gonzalez. He belted his 18th home run to lead off the 2nd inning. That was intentionally walked to fill him up in the 3rd, and Will Clark grounded out. Gonzalez now has had 9 home runs in his past 23 games. We mentioned when we were in Seattle recently that Ken Griffey Jr. has never lifted weights. Juan Gonzalez has quit using heavy weights. He strengthens his arms with light weights. And he pops it up. Mondesi coming up in shallow right. And this is the 2nd out of the 5th inning.
First baseman.
Will Clark comes on now.
22. Will Clark.
Will flied to deep right in the 2nd and then bounced out to Karras to strand 3 in the 3rd inning. Talking to Will this afternoon, he said, you know, there's some quirks in the American League, unlike the National League, but there's some enjoyable ballparks to play in, quality players. But I prefer the National League rules. I'm not that in favor of the DH. I like to see the pitchers hit. I think it adds to the strategy. I said, now over there you get to see knuckleball pitchers like Tim Wakefield and Steve Sparks and Dennis Springer. Well, he says Candiotti is probably better than all of those guys because not only does Tom have the good knuckleball, he'll use the curveball and the fastball, and the other guys don't really have breaking balls. Clark, lifetime, is 3 for 17 against Candiotti, and he struck out about 1/3 of the time. And the count 2-1. When Will was with the Giants, he had a .312 lifetime average against the Dodgers and 15 home runs. He used to wear them out. 3-2 Texas. They've led 1-0. They've led 2-1. Now 3-2. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. And that's taken high. 3 balls, 1 strike. Fred Rodriguez, who hit the home run here in the 5th to stamp the tie, had 47 doubles last year, the most ever by a major league catcher. So he's the full package. We know all about his defense, his gold glove, his great arm. Will takes a strike, 3-2. Two men out, nobody on. And Candiotti preparing for the payoff pitch to Clark. And he got him pointed. But Rodriguez's home run gives the Rangers the lead. And at the end of 4.5, Texas 3 and the Dodgers 2. Youngsters will enjoy a great new giveaway at Dodger Stadium Thursday, July 24th. All youngsters 14 and under will receive a free Mike Piazza replica jersey T-shirt when the Dodgers finish their 3-game series with the Mets. You can order tickets early for Jersey T-shirt night and catch the Dodgers-Mets game by calling 213-224-1-HIT. Don Zeal leads off, and Julio Santana's first pitch is good for a strike as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Rangers 3, Dodgers 2. 3 bases empty home runs by Juan Gonzalez, Dean Palmer, and Pudge Rodriguez giving Texas the lead. Eric Karras has hit a bases empty homer for the Dodgers. And Tom Candiotti squeezed in the other run. Zeal is in a whole 0-2. Todd grounded to second his first time up. He's only 4 for 29 on the homestand. 1-2. Julio Santana is in his 8th pro season after signing with the Texas organization a little over 7 years ago. They signed him as a shortstop. He didn't become a full-time pitcher until 4 years ago. And they converted him to a starting pitcher the following season. He was the Rangers' top pitching prospect before last year, but they felt that he didn't have good discipline. He showed up in spring training camp out of shape. Didn't try to refine his pitches. He gets Zeal looking. And the Dodger Stadium woes for Todd continue. For Santana, his 3rd strikeout of the night. He's got about a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. The breaking pitch and the off-speed pitch don't do him much use in the big one. But after all, he's only 24. Todd Hollandsworth doubled in the 3rd inning and extended the Dodgers' streak to 60 games where they had at least 1 extra base hit. He later scored. He chops one out to short. And Domingo Cedeno throws him out. So 2 away in the Dodger 5th inning, and Greg Gagne will come on.
Number 7.
Ramon Martinez, as you know, is on the Dodger disabled list with a small tear in his rotator cuff. And in talking to physical therapist Pat Screener today, there's Ramon. Pat says that the inflammation has subsided. There's been significant improvement in Ramon's shoulder, and he may throw at the end of this week, lightly. But we're not going to see Ramon until after the All-Star break. Gagne, who flied to center his first time up, takes a strike. Martinez talking things over with Karras. 2 outs, nobody on. Base hit to right field. So if nothing else, Gagne's base hit allows the Dodgers to get Candiotti out of the way. So he won't have to lead off in the 6th inning. That is the 5th hit for the Dodgers. The Rangers have 7. And here's Candiotti, who squeezed home the run. Now, I think Tom's going to be lifted. Yeah, Candiotti being called back by Bill Russell. And Roger Cedeno is going to come up. So Candiotti surrendered 3 home runs in 5 innings. He goes out losing 3-2, and we'll see Darren Dreifert in the 6th inning when Domingo Cedeno, no kin to Roger, and Damon Buford come up. For Candiotti, his 3rd start of the year. And obviously not too happy with his removal. Remember, he shut out the Giants on 4 hits over 7 innings in his first start. Padres roughed him up a bit in the 2nd start, but he wound up with a no decision in that game, giving up 4 runs in 6 innings and using 97 pitches. And tonight he checks out after 5. Roger Cedeno has had a few hits lately, trying to shake himself out of a slump. And Cedeno, switch hitter, takes inside for a ball. Roger out of Venezuela. Julio Santana's best game came in May. He threw 6 1/3 scoreless innings against the Yankees and won 6-0. Cedeno fouls it back, 1-1. Well, it is really hard to believe, but in the last 3 years, the Texas Rangers have a better winning percentage without Juan Gonzalez in the lineup. But they average 1 run a game more with him. And Gonzalez has one of the 3 Texas home runs tonight. And the Rangers lead 3-2. Hit him. Santana hits his 4th batter of the season. And that gives the Dodgers 2 runners with 2 outs and gives Butler a chance here in the 5th inning. Got him on that front leg. Butler with an infield single and then bounced back to the pitcher. Roger trying to get that pain to cease a little bit. We were talking about all-star balloting, the fact that Mike Piazza led all the National Leaguers again this year in total votes from the fans. Brett Butler finished 13th among the outfielders in the National League. Ralph Mondesi was 15th. Todd Hollingsworth was 26th. High for a ball. Eric Karras finished 9th among the first basemen. Wilton Guerrero 9th among the second basemen. Greg Gagne 5th among the shortstops. Todd Zeile 6th among the third basemen. So only Mike really got the votes when it came to Dodger players this year. We'll know tomorrow who the reserves and the pitchers are. Rodriguez going after the runner at second, and he almost got Gagne. Does he have an arm? 5-time All-Star. Almost everybody agrees Pedro Rodriguez has the strongest arm of any major league catcher. And he's a free agent after this season. Ball, 1 strike to Butler. And he lifts a fly ball out of the center field. And the Dodgers are going to strand 2 as Damon Buford puts it away. At the end of 5, Rangers 3, Dodgers 2. The Pacific Telesis Network is proud to salute Todd Hollingsworth for his work with the Dodger Youth Baseball Clinics and the Dodger High School Assembly Program. We're going to the 6th inning at Dodger Stadium. Rangers 3, Dodgers 2. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Ross Porter, along with Vin Scully and Rick Mundy right here on Channel 5. We're back with you on KTLA Thursday night at Anaheim, when Adele Nomo and the Dodgers face Alan Watson of the Angels. First tomorrow night at 7:35 on Fox Sports West 2, Sean O'Park and Jason Dixon to begin that 2-game series. Darren Driver comes in to pitch now. Tom Candiani goes 5 innings tonight, allows 3 runs, all of them earned, 3 solo homers. Surrendered 7 base hits, struck out 3, walked a man, that was intentional, and out is Dreifert. Last night the Rangers won 3-2, and they lead by that count as Dean Palmer comes up to begin the 6th inning for Texas. San Francisco, Colorado, and San Diego all lost day games. The Dodgers with an opportunity to pull within 7 of the Giants, within 2.5 of the Rockies, and go 4 ahead of the Padres. Palmer has one of those 3 Ranger home runs after flying to deep center his first time up, and Dean takes a strike and is 0-1. That went off the glove of Piazza. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rookie Jose Cruz Jr. had 2 home runs this afternoon, a career-high 5 RBIs. Alex Rodriguez belted a 3-run homer. And Seattle mangled San Francisco 15-4. Russ Davis had another home. Drive to right. Bonnersley going over to one-handed. That'll bring on Domingo Cedeno. He has singled and doubled. Johnny Oates was telling me, he said, you know, one thing is we don't have an experienced shortstop. We're missing Billy Ripken, who's on the disabled list. The Rangers have played 4 men at shortstop this year. They've also tried 3 at second base, and they haven't found the right mix yet. Fastball drives him back, ball 1. Rangers had the worst record in the American League in June, 10-17. Only the Phillies, who lost 22 of 26, had a worse June this year. 2-0 to Domingo Cedeno. Rangers had not won consecutive games in a month when they beat the Giants and Padres June 13th and 14th. If they win tonight, they'll be 40-40. Hit the other way along the left field line for a base hit. So Domingo Cedeno is 3 for 3 tonight. That's hit number 8 for Texas, including 3 home runs and a double. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Damon Buford. Buford happy to see Candiati gone. Tom struck him out both plate appearances. Damon, ever since he came in the big leagues, is at under 220 against right-handed pitchers. Fine defensive outfielder. And they got him picked off. Good fake by Karras, who tags him out. So 2 out as Driver nails his man at first base. Oops. Committed. Where do I go now? Karras faked the throw to Gagne and did it himself. Chuck Finley pitched a good game for the Angels today in Denver. Allowed 1 run and 5 hits in 7 1/3 innings. Beat the Rockies 4-1. Jim Edmonds, who thought he was going to have to go on the disabled list with his injury, had a 2-run homer. Big hit. That's a strike. 0-1 to Buford. Tim Salmon had 4 hits, including an RBI double for the Angels, and Luis Alicea homer. We'll see the Angels the next 2 nights in Anaheim. 1-1. San Diego had a 5-1 lead at Oakland, and the A's came back. They were down 6-4 going to the 8th. Jason Giambi out of West Covina hit a 2-run homer of Doug Bachler to tie it, and then Scott Brosius hit a 2-run homer of Rich Batchelor to win it, 8-6. 2-1 to David. Tony Gwynn got 4 hits in his first 4 at-bats tonight. Today got his batting average above 400, then they got him out with the tying runs on base in the 9th. So all Tony's hitting is .399. Larry Walker's hitting .402 at Colorado to lead the league. A little slow ground ball. Guerrero's going to have to hurry. But he gets Damon. So thanks to the driver pickoff move, the Rangers just sent 3 men to the plate in the 6th at the end of 5 1/2. Texas 3 and the Dodgers 2. Receive a free Dodger Blue Fielder's Glove and a certificate for a free Dodger baseball when the Dodgers host the Pittsburgh Pirates here at Dodger Stadium. Monday night, July 28th. Order tickets early for you and your family by visiting the Dodger Stadium Advanced Ticket Office, any ETM ticket machine at selected Hughes, Pavilions, or Gelson's, or call 213-224-1-HIT. Wilton Guerrero leads off in the bottom of the 6th. Rangers 3, Dodgers 2. And takes ball 1 from Julio Santana. Guerrero has struck out and fouled out to third. Piazza on deck, then Karras. 3 solo home runs, giving Texas the lead. And Wilton takes low ball 2, 2-0. So far tonight in interleague play and this afternoon. American League teams have won 7, National League teams have won 6. And only this one's still going. So the American League has won 60. And the National League has won 51. And we just started the second of the 3 segments of interleague play this week. Slow ground ball out to second. Mark McLemore throws out Guerrero. So 1 out in the Dodgers 6. Piazza coming up. This date in baseball history, July 1st, 1951. Rapid Robert Feller pitched his third career no-hitter, beating Detroit and Cleveland, although he gave up a run. And that tied Cy Young's record at the time for the most no-hitters pitched. Piazza tonight is grounded into a double play and fly to right field. The Giants are going home now to host Oakland tomorrow night. That'll be Kirk Reeder and Mike Oquist. Seattle's going to San Diego. Jeff Becerra to go against Joey Hamilton. And Colorado will visit these Rangers tomorrow night in Arlington. John Thompson and John Burkett. While the Dodgers in Shonho Park against Jason Dixon. The Angels at Anaheim. Mike Piazza up at the plate with one out and nobody on in the sixth inning. Denny Nagel got the Atlanta win at Yankee Stadium tonight. He's 12-1. Checks his swing and it's low. 2-2. Last night, Bobby Higginson hit 3 home runs for Detroit against the Mets. Tonight, he homered his first at bat and became the 26th major leaguer to homer in 4 straight at-bats. They struck him out the next time. But Detroit beat New York 8-6. Detroit hit 5 home runs tonight against the Mets. He hit 6 last night and winning 14-0. He was 8-0 tonight at one time. Drive to the right field corner. If it's fair, it's extra bases. It's a ground rule double for Mike Piazza. So Mike opens July with an extra base hit here tonight. He had the most hits of anybody in the majors in June. He's the tying run with 1 out, and here comes Eric Karras, who has struck out and homered. The Dodgers have a home run and 3 doubles among their 6 hits off Julio Santana, but they're still a buck short. They're down 3-2. That's a strike, 0-1. Right-hander Matt Whiteside and left-hander Eric Gunderson are at work in the Rangers bullpen. Three-2 Rangers, 6th inning. Pitch. That misses 1-1. Jeff Juden of Montreal had a no-hitter today until the 8th inning in Toronto. Sean Green hit a home run. That was the only hit Juden gave up in 8 innings. He struck out a career-high 14 and outpitched Roger Clemens. Montreal beat Toronto for the 2nd day in a row, 2-1. Karras takes low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Giants had to place infielder Bill Miller on the 15-day disabled list with a fractured right index finger. Recall Marvin Bernard from Phoenix. And Giants pitcher Joe Roa had to leave the game in Seattle this afternoon after being hit by a line drive on his left wrist. 2-1 pitch, Eric Karras. Checks his swing. It's down. Ball 3. 3-1. Mondesi's on deck. And Colorado's pitching ace this year, Roger Bailey, had to go on the 15-day DL today with a strained left hamstring. Dodgers trying to pull within 7 games of the Giants tonight. 2.5 of the Rockies. But they're down 3-2. Now the 3-1 pitch from Santana to Karras. Foul onto the screen. The Houston Astros gave up today on shortstop Pat Listach. They're going to release him. He had 182 with no homers and 6 RBIs in 52 games. And Bob Abreu is going to come off the DL for the Astros. Three balls and 2 strikes to Eric Karras. Piazza second, 1 man out, 6th inning. Rangers 3, Dodgers 2. Santana was in the rotation. Then they put him in the bullpen. Then they brought him back and won a game since May 31st. Winless in his last 3 starts. This is his 9th start, his 17th game. He'd only worked 66 innings all year and came in with an earner average over 6. So I'm sure Johnny would be thrilled if he got 6 innings out of Santana if he left with a lead. Another payoff pitch to Karras. Driven to right field. Does it have the distance? Karras' second homer of the night gives the Dodgers the lead. Is he on fire? Games. That's the Eric Karras note tonight. And the Dodgers lead the Rangers 4-3. Number 18 overall. And he now has reached 50 runs batted in to lead the Dodgers in both categories. So Piazza doubles and Karras homers. And we have had 5 home runs tonight at Dodger Stadium. Karras going the other way. And Juan Gonzalez just looked up and watched it go. Dick Bosman is the Texas pitching coach. And Santana allows the second homer of the night to Karras. So Piazza now with an 8-game hitting streak. Karras is hit safely in his last 7. Guerrero's 8-game streak in a little jeopardy. He's 0 for 3. Still only 1 out of the Dodgers 6. Here's Mondesi. He's grounded to short and double. The Dodgers with 2 home runs and 3 doubles. And they've taken a 4-3 lead. Their first lead of the evening at Dodger Stadium before a sellout crowd. The fireworks show is to follow, but we've had a little fireworks of our own here tonight, huh? 0-1 to Mondesi. When the Rangers bat in the 7th, Santana is due to lead off, then McLemore and Rodriguez. But the Rangers have hit 3 home runs themselves. Candiotti is off the hook. He cannot lose. Chance to go 2. Bullpen, here it comes. Home run Mondesi. 5-3 Dodgers. Number 17 for Monday. RBI 48. 6 home runs tonight at Dodger Stadium. 3 for each side, and that's going to be it for Julio Santana. Oates is patient, and now he's going to come out and lift it. So Mondesi, who was troubled by a sore left shoulder a few days ago, returned to the lineup last night, had a homer and a double, and tonight a homer and a double again. 5-3 Dodgers. Good night, Mr. Julio Santana. We'll be back at the stadium right after this. The Dodgers have hit 5 home runs here the last 2 nights against the Rangers. Mondesi has hit 2. Karras has hit 2. And Piazza had the other. And here's Mondesi. Looked like a breaking ball inside, and he knew it was gone. That's probably the longest one of the night, at least for the Dodgers. Deep into their bullpen. And Mondesi showing his muscle, or at least his manager showing it for him. So 5-3 in favor of the Dodgers, and Matt Whiteside comes in. And 29-year-old veteran pitcher. Had some elbow problems in the past. Struggle, went back to the minors. Now he's back up in the big league. Zeal tonight is grounded to second, been called on strikes. And Todd grounds 1. Nice play by Palmer. Gets up and throws to first. And one third baseman robs the other. Nice play by Dean Palmer. 2 men out of the Dodgers' 6th. And Todd Hollingsworth will be the hitter.
Left fielder, number 28, Todd Hollingsworth.
When Johnny Oates read the first paragraph of his advanced scouts report of the Dodgers, he said he thought to himself, wait, was he watching the Dodgers play or was he watching us play? It was almost identical. The verbiage, the wordage the scout used to describe the Dodgers. Oates said, if I were writing our play over the last 2 weeks, it would have been exactly what I read a few hours before last night's game about the Dodgers. And sure enough, last night, they both came in 2 games under 500 this year. Hollingsworth grounds it over first. Clark can't get it. This will be another Dodger extra base hit. Todd's going to have his second extra base hit, and he will be content with a long double. So quite a night for the Dodger hitters. 3 home runs and 4 doubles, and they've all come since the 3rd inning, and we're only in the 6th. Low pitch from Whiteside, and Hollingsworth went down and got it. Todd was hitting at 429 in Albuquerque when they called him back Sunday night. Last night he went 0 for 4 and failed to get the ball to the infield. Tonight he has 2 doubles and 3 at-bats. Boy, did Todd take the demotion with great class. He said, the Dodgers are my employer. If they tell me to go to the minor leagues, I'm going to go down. He said, I had one tough day where I was angry. I got over it. I said, hey, it's for my good. They're trying to help me. I want to get my stroke back. I want to get comfortable. I want to get relaxed. I'm back. I'm ready. You love to see a player voice those comments. Here's Gagne. And he takes a strike. Greg has flied to center and single. Hollingsworth said, I'd just be hurting myself if I went into a funk, if I pouted. I'm 24 years old. First base is open with Dryford on deck, but Dryford's a good hitting pitcher. And it's inside. Whiteside is probably going to just get this 3rd out and come out for a pinch hitter. The Rangers are down 5-3. And there have been so many blasts out here tonight, 6 homers in all, that have just short-circuited the Dodger Stadium scoreboard. We have no score up there and half of a lineup. Here's a roller to 3rd. Palmer on the run will throw out Gagne, and the Dodgers are gone. But they get 3 runs on 4 extra base hits. Vin back in a moment. Dodgers 5, Rangers 3.
We have a dandy here tonight. 6 home runs, 5 doubles. Dodgers leading 5-3, and we still have at least 3 innings of baseball left. And add to that a large sellout crowd who are looking forward to fireworks, and they're certainly getting them a lot earlier than they had expected. So, pull up a chair, hard hats and seat belts. Let's go to the 7th inning.
Getting off the Rangers and batting for Matt Whiteside. Number 21, Warren.
Warren Newson will come up and bat for Matt Whiteside as we go to the 7th inning. Almost ready to go off, but not quite. And that's hit down the line, slicing in the corner, and goes foul. Well, Newson almost hit it out. We've had home runs by Gonzalez, Palmer, and Rodriguez. Interestingly enough, each Texas home run was by the leadoff man in the inning. Gonzalez in the 2nd, Palmer in the 4th, Rodriguez in the 5th. All 3 against Candiotti. The Dodgers, 2 home runs by Karras, 1 by Mondesi. Rangers have been very successful coming off the bench. Their pinch hitters have hit .297, and they have 3 pinch hit home runs and 18 pinch hit RBIs. You know, an interesting thing about this Texas ball club, 1 and 2, they have only won 6 games this year where they failed to hit a home run. 6. Most recently, Johnny Oates' team beat Anaheim without a home run. just missing a home run and then strike out. One away. Dreifert with that mean
Number 3,
sinker.
Mark McLemore.
And the batter, Mark McLemore. Grounded out single, grounded out again. Mac hitting .236. Ball 1. Ground ball to Zeal, blocked it with his chest and throws him out. That's a big thing about playing third. You don't have to really handle it cleanly as long as you keep the ball in front of you and you have a good arm. So 2 out, and now Ivan Rodriguez. Hit back to the box, fouled out, and homer. Batting .346. Rangers, Dodgers tied it. 2-1 Rangers, Dodgers tied it. 3-2 Rangers, and the Dodgers scored 3. So they lead 5-3, and we're in the 7th. On deck, Rusty Greer. Line foul down the right field line. Ron Barnes, the umpire, getting way out of that one. Look at all those frustrated people. You'd think that ball was on a string just to tantalize them. Two and one. The count to Ivan Rodriguez, or as they say in Puerto Rico, Ivan. Two and two. I can't get over the difference between the uniform today and the uniform in the old days. In the old days, the players' pants looked like a sailing ship. Today, I mean, they're poured into them. Ball 3. In the old days, would you believe the uniforms were flannel, wool? And the combination of perspiration and dirt added to the uniforms, plus the fact that they were anything but wind resistance, it was like playing uphill. Ball 4. So Rodriguez draws a walk. They have a whopper tonight. They had the sign out early. Game sold out. Paid attendance 54,179. 54,179, and have they ever seen a show? 5-3 Dodgers, 6 home runs, 5 doubles. And here's Rusty Greer. Fouled away. Rusty hit back to the box and twice grounded to Guerrero. Boy, his helmet's taken a beating. I don't know whether that's just the same helmet over a long period of time, or the helmet has been thrown a great deal. It is really chewed up. 1-1. Well, Rusty's hitting .331, so he couldn't have slammed it around too much. This crowd tonight turns out to be the largest home crowd of the season. And what a show. Ball 2, nasty sinker. Piazza, who had told Dreifert, or at least gestured easy, now goes out to talk to him. I think he felt that Darren was perhaps over pitching a little bit. So Mike's saying, settle down, take it easy. Where he wears that hat right out of Bobby Welch. Right out of Bobby Welch. And he's worn his hat that way since the first day. Fouled away upstairs, hits the facade of the third level and comes all the way back on the field. Down in the bullpen, Scott Radinsky making nice. Driver due to lead off when the Dodgers hit in the bottom of the seventh. 2-2 to Rusty Greer. Fouled away. From all reports we get, Rusty Greer is truly the next leader of the Rangers. I think Will Clark has been a leader, has done a great deal in the clubhouse for the team. And this is the fella who will take over for a long run. Ground ball to the hole, and just by Guerrero. So 2 on, and the big guy coming up. That's Juan Gonzalez. Benji Gill sitting there lost his job. And Dave Wallace, meanwhile, is out to the mound talking to Darren Dreifort. Gonzalez followed by Clark. Dave always goes out to instruct. Russell goes out to pick up the pitcher. You know one reason why Bill Russell does not have Dave Wallace cook the pitcher and why he goes out there? And it's typical. Because if he feels there are boos involved, he'll take them. You talk about take one for the club. Bill will do that. The other night he was relieving a pitcher who had pitched exceptionally well, and he said, look, I'm not going to walk off the field with you. You go off first. That way I know you'll get the applause you deserve. Then I'll leave the mound. So the pitcher got an ovation, and he walked off and got the boos. Juan Gonzalez homered, walked intentionally, flied to right. Gonzalez hit his 43rd home run when he was only 22 years old 5 years ago. Right. Now that's his. You know how we show you the red, meaning the area where he really likes the ball? Look at this. In other words, what that means is walk him intentionally. 0-1 to count. Five-3 Dodgers, 7th inning. The lead in jeopardy here for sure. 0-2. So Darren Dreifort, a long way from Wichita State, facing Juan Gonzalez. Rusty Greer and Pudge Rodriguez out there on the base paths. 2 out. Dodgers leading by 2. How does Gonzalez do ratio? 48 strikeouts in about 240 at-bats. Not bad at all for his power. Kind of hurt his hand a little bit on that swing. Two the count to Juan Gonzalez. Rodriguez at second, Greer at first. 2 out. 5-3 Dodgers, 7th inning. got him. Off speed and a great pitch. And Gonzalez way out in front of it. So Drybert strikes out 2. 2 men are left at the end of 6 1/2. 5-3 Dodgers.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That pitch to Juan Gonzalez, so off speed, it looked for a moment there, if we could see it one more time, it almost looked like Piazza reached out for it before it got to him. It was a great pitch to fool Gonzalez. And we go on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Eric Gunderson throwing some left-handed hooks to the plate right now. Take one more look. Look at Piazza's glove. He really reaches out there and then pulls it back. A great pitch. Right now it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Who's the only first overall draft pick who went on to win the MVP award? And we'll give you the answer a little bit later on. Darren Dreifert will start it off against Gunderson. Gunderson 1-0. Great ERA of less than 2, and over in the American League, less than 2 is really something with the DH. Fastball pulled sharply into left field. Boy, did Dreifert had a rip at that. So Darren Dreifert, a sharp single to left. For the Dodgers, their 10th hit. Look at that. All business, and he really turned on it. Palmer diving, might have nicked it with the fingertips, but it was just about where to go. So Driver to lead off single. We'll see now the Dodgers leading 5-3 if they play for a run. Meaning will Butler bunt or not? Eric Gunderson has been around a while. First came up with the Giants 7 years ago. Came up later on with Seattle, then again with the Mets, then with the Red Sox. It seems like every time he comes up, he's wearing a different uniform. And now we see him with the Texas Rangers. He must have had a tough career. He's been released 3 times, granted free agency twice, and claimed on waivers. So he's been battling to stay out. Right, 1-1. Amalfitano perhaps hanging out the sign as to whether the bunt's in order. Dreifert at first. Nobody out in the 7th. 5-3 Dodgers. You know, it's a great thing about having an exciting game like this, the fact that there's a big crowd here to enjoy it. Wonderful. And the size of the crowd and the noise of the crowd adds so much to the game. Missed the bunt, 1-2. Interestingly, though, that did not appear to be the sacrifice bunt. He was on the move as if he was bunting for a base hit. And there's something loose, a beach ball way out in right center, so timeout. 1-2. Butler had an infield single, hit back to the box, flied to center. 1 for 3. Wilden Guerrero waiting his turn on deck. 5 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 9 hits for the Rangers. Tomorrow night, Anaheim, and Thursday night, and then the weekend in San Diego. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Santana, Whiteside, and Gunderson. Sprayed foul out of play. Still 2-2. Oh, great. Yeah. A dream come true. First time we went to Japan to play Japanese All-Stars, the Japanese fans used to throw the balls back on the field. They will only get the out, so it's as if he bunted him over anyway. They would throw the balls back, I assume because it wasn't there. But since that time, they have become very westernized, and they keep the balls. Unless, I don't know if that's true, like the Chicago Cubs bleacherites who throw enemy home runs back on the field. But a long time ago, first time we were over there, it was startling to see how the fans would immediately toss the ball back. All right, Dreifert at second, 1 out in the 7th, 5-3 Dodgers. Guerrero has struck out, fouled out, grounded out. Off speed for a strike. Good pitch. Guerrero turning around, having batted left-handed the first 3 at-bats. Dreifert at second, 1 away. Breaking ball and a good one. And wait a minute, he's had that trouble before, you know, batting right-handed. Guerrero hurting his shoulder. Let's see. Charlie Strasser comes out there. Here comes Bill Russell. He might have done it again. First time he did it in spring training. He's done. Boy, that's terrible. That's chronic now. See the face. He let out a scream down there. So again, Wilden Guerrero, batting right-handed, hurts his shoulder. And Trip Cromer will have to come up and finish the at-bat. And somewhat discouraged Guerrero back in the dugout. So all of a sudden, a switch hitter who constantly injures himself when he bats right-handed. And here's a kid who has done a great job hitting .290 and handling everything hit his way. Charlie Strasser is down there with him, but there's not much you can do. They all know it's the same problem. Each time that it happens, he has to take off some games. Wilden Guerrero this year has missed 11 games. Johnny Oates, meanwhile, will go out and talk to Gunderson. And he might be. He's going to bring in a pitcher on an 0-2 count. Yes. So Eric Gunderson gets 2 strikes on Guerrero, and they both lead. Dodgers. To look ahead, Clark, Palmer, and Cedeno due up in the 8th as we look at a somewhat downcast Guerrero. We'll be right back. Dodgers leading the Rangers 5-3. You know, the remarkable technical advances in television give us a chance to repeat plays. We do it all the time. So, of course, we saw the grimace on the face of Wilden Guerrero when he swung the bat right-handed. However, the men who handle the tape, they are always watching and looking to add to the telecast. And what they have found out, here is where the pain started. He extended the arm, didn't come up with it. Watch the right hand now. He's going to rub that left shoulder. Now, hardly anyone noticed it, but our tape men did, and our congratulations. So Guerrero hurt the shoulder lunging at the ball. Then when he swung, he was finished for the night and maybe for a couple of days. And finally, after sitting quietly alone in the far corner of the dugout, he left. Brett Butler came over and patted him on the back. And Butler understands he is now showing Scioscia how he hurt his arm reaching for the base hit and then hurt it further swinging the bat. And our congratulations to our tape men who spotted it. Well, that's a short at bat for Cromer. 0-2, one pitch down he goes. And the batter now will be Mike Piazza against Xavier Hernandez. Xavier Hernandez spent a career in the National League. Pitched for several years with Houston, Cincinnati. Spent a little time with the Yankees. He knows Piazza, and there's no sense monkeying with him, and he'll go after Karras. So Piazza getting the intentional pass. And in a moment, Eric Karras, who has 2 home runs tonight and 3 runs batted in. He coming up. So Johnny Oates is down 5-3, and he's trying to put out the fire. But he is forced to pitch to a man who's already hurt him severely with 2 home runs. Piazza doesn't get very many intentional walks, not with Karras hitting back of him. It's only the 5th intentional walk that Piazza has gotten. So 2 on, 2 out. Looked like Piazza getting a razzing from Will Clark. And here's Karras. Struck out, homered, and then homered with Piazza aboard in the 6th inning. Ball 1. Eric hitting .270. He now has 18 home runs and 50 runs batted in. Right. 1-1. Eric can't believe it. Runge, the plate umpire, I believe he's going to take over next year as supervisors of umpires, taking the job vacated by the retiring Ed Vargo. 1-2. Saved by Rodriguez, and the count 2-2. Five runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 9 hits for the Rangers. Bottom of the 7th inning. To repeat, Will Clark, Dean Palmer, Domingo Cedeno due up in the 8th. The deuce is wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. Dodgers lead by 2. So it's been up and down for Eric. 2 strikeouts, but 2 big home runs. And at the end of 7, Dodgers 5, Rangers 3. Well, we can take a moment now and answer the Aflac trivia question. Who is the only former first overall draft pick who went on to win the MVP award? Yep, Jeff Burroughs. He was the #1 pick in 1969 and the American League's MVP in 1974 for Texas. We go to the 8th. 5-3 Dodgers. Trip Cromer takes over at second base for Wilton Guerrero. And Darren Dreifert will be pitching to Clark, Palmer, and Cedeno. Cromer, tall and lean, reminds you a little bit of Dave Anderson, but he is taller than Dave. But you look at him and you immediately think of Dave, who played here for so many years. Strike to Clark. Flied to right, grounded out, and struck out all 3 at-bats against the knuckleballs of Candiati. 1-1. Ground ball hard to Cromer. So Clark goes 0 for 4, 1 out in the 8th inning. And the batter will be Dean Palmer.
Number 16, Dean Palmer.
Palmer flied to center, homered in the 4th, flied to right in the 6th. Boy, his home run in the 4th inning was shelled. A low line drive over the 360 sign in left field, back in about 5 or 6 rows. Strike. That's the sinker, and the count 0-2. So Darren Dreifert picking up in the 6th inning. So this is 3rd inning of work. One and 2. Dodgers in Anaheim the next 2 nights. Fox Sports West 2 tomorrow night, KTLA Channel 5 Thursday night, Friday night, and Sunday afternoon in San Diego. 2 and 2. Dreifert reaching 92 with that last fastball. Palmer checking the bat. That had a funny sound. It's still 2 and 2. Big sweeping slider that time. 3 and 2 the count. So he walks Palmer to bring up Domingo Cedeno. Russell sweating out his young right-hander a little bit. Looking at options, trying to think ahead of what Oates might do. Domingo Cedeno has had 5 straight hits. Last night, robbed in his first at-bat by Butler and then struck out. Then he had 2 singles. Tonight, he's had 2 singles and a double. Down in the pen, Darren Hall has joined left-hander Scott Radinsky. That last pitch to Cedeno was clocked at 94. 0-1. Dreifert has now made 44 pitches. So the Dodgers watching him very, very carefully. Ball 2, 2-1. Three Dodgers, 1 out, top of the 8th. Out of the way. Remember, Dreifert had some arm trouble, so the Dodgers will be very, very solicitous of his welfare in counting those pitches. They certainly don't want him to work too much. 2-2. Little nubber up along third. Tough play for Zeal. Throws and gets him. So a little roller to third base for the second out. And that'll bring up Damon Buford or a hitter. Buford has not done anything with the bat. We'll take another look at Zeal's play. So they might go to the bench, and from the looks of things, that's just what they're going to do. Lee Stevens, big left-hand hitter, will come up and bat for Buford.
For Buford, number 11, Lee Stevens.
The report we get on Wilton Guerrero is the report you saw. He aggravated his left shoulder, first straining to get the base hit by Greer, and then swinging the bat right-handed. Wallace wants to make sure Dreifert's okay because his longest outing this year for Darren Dreifert, 3 innings way back in April. So he has worked 2 2/3 innings now, but of course he's been on the DL before that. He missed 32 games. He was out from May the 14th until the middle of June with tendinitis of the right elbow. So they want to make sure that he's not working too much. So the pen is ready for a quick call. Lee Stevens makes his home in Wichita, Kansas, and of course Dreifert was the big man at Wichita State. Little foul ball, 0-1. Lee Stevens, one of 5 players selected by California 10 years ago in the draft. Lee's big, 6'4", about 230. Dodgers, 2 out, top of the 8th. Waiting his turn on deck, Mickey Tettleton. He has had so many knee problems. A lot of people in Texas thought sure he would have retired by now. In fact, if he keeps playing, they're talking about a knee replacement. And that's a big concern. He was on the DL for over 2 months. Ball 1, 1-2. In fact, the reports we get medically about Mickey Tettleton, he has almost no cartilage remaining in either knee. And of course, a bone-on-bone situation, he's constantly in agony, but he keeps trying. And I believe there are zippers at the knee side of the pants. A shot to third, big save by Zeal to get him. Biggest play of the night. After all the bats have made all the noise, Zeal takes away an extra base hit. Hot potato for sure. And it's still 5-3 Dodgers. There's a lot of shaking going on at Dodger Stadium right now, the big and the small. It is 5-3 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th inning. Hugs and kisses all around. And by the way, Barry Bonds and the Giants make their last visit to Dodger Stadium for a 4-game series beginning next Thursday, the 10th, right after the All-Star break. Sunday, the 13th, all kids 14 and under in attendance receive a free set of full-color baseball cards featuring the 97 Dodgers, compliments of Mother's Cookies. There's the number, 213-224-1-HIT. Couple of changes in the outfield for Texas. Lee Stevens is now in left field. Rusty Greer moves over to center. And Xavier Hernandez ready to pitch to Raul Mondesi. Mondesi grounded to short, doubled into the right field corner, and was shot down at third, and then homered in the sixth. Santana, Whiteside, Gunderson, and Hernandez. Good changeup. 0-2. Xavier, an outstanding high school athlete in the state of Texas. Starting his career with Houston and apparently finishing up with Texas. One and two. Rangers led 1-0 on a home run by Gonzalez, but a squeeze play after Hollingsworth double tied it up 1-1. Then a leadoff home run by Palmer made it 2-1 Rangers. Karras homered to tie it up. Rodriguez homered to make it 3-2 Rangers. And the Dodgers got a double by Piazza and home runs by Karras and Mondesi to take a 5-3 lead. So Mondesi badly fooled. One away. Todd Zeile has not done anything with the bat, but came up with a big play defensively to save Darren Dreifert. Talking about Dreifert, looks like he's done, and Todd Worrell tuning up. And line to left for a base hit for Todd. So Stevens gets it back in for the Dodgers, the 11th hit.
Left fielder, number 28.
And the batter, Todd Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth doubled off the right center field wall and was squeezed in by Candiotti. Grounded out and doubled to right in the sixth. So Todd 2 for 3. There goes Zeile, and a hit-and-run ground ball back at third. Palmer is on it to make the play to Clark. So Zeile into second with 2 out, and Greg Gagne will be the batter.
Shortstop, number 7, Greg Gagne.
Gagne 1 for 3, a base hit in the 5th inning. A changeup and a beauty. He's got a dandy. 0-1. That was a 74-mile-an-hour change, which is just perfect. Hernandez spot due to lead off in the 9th inning. So there'd be a hitter, maybe Tettleton, then McLemore and Pudge Rodriguez. And if anybody gets on, Rusty Greer. 5-3 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th, 2 out. Zeal at second. Gagne trying to pick him up. And that's going to get through and go to the screen. Zeal to third, and he will hold. Meanwhile, Nelson Liriano comes out on deck because Dreiford has worked enough. He worked 3 innings. Rodriguez trying to block it but couldn't. It is a wild pitch. One and one the count. 5-3 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th, 2 out. Zeal at third. One ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers trying to head for Anaheim with a win, get a split with Texas if they can. It would give them a 500 mark against the American League if they win tonight. In the dirt, saved by Pudge. The dynamic duo, Mike Piazza and Eric Karros. Piazza tonight has a double. Karros has 2 home runs, 3 runs batted in. And those two just exploded in the month of June. But it shows you 2 men can't carry 25. As well as they played in June, the Dodgers have been on a treadmill. And they have played well. Ground ball to the hole. Gagne comes up with a big 2-out base hit to cash in Zeal, and the Dodgers lead 6-3. The toughest hit of all, batting 8th with 2 out. You don't expect to get too many good pitches, and he's still single to left field. And now Nelson Liriano will come up.
For the Dodgers, now batting for Dreiford, number 46. Nelson Liriano.
So Gagne, a key RBI to give the Dodgers a bigger pillow to lean on in the 9th inning. Nelson Liriano, as a pinch hitter, 4 for 25 with 3 runs batted in. Ball 1. So Hernandez in the dirt a lot. Made a couple of great off-speed pitches, but the key was to wild pitch Zeal to third. Todd's a tough man to score from second on a base hit, but from third, it was a lock. Almost got him. 2-0. Interesting what Rodriguez does behind the plate. We'll never know. Fly ball to center. That'll end the inning. But looking in at Rodriguez from center field, it seems like he calls the pitch and then looks inside his mitt. Wish we could have shown you that. At the end of 8, it's 6-3 Dodgers. 6-3 Dodgers as we go to the 9th inning, only because we don't see them again and only saw them briefly. But it's a habit, obviously, of Pudge Rodriguez. So we thought, watch him now. He's going to give the signs after looking over to the bench. Okay, there's the signs. Now turn the glove and look in the palm. I don't know what he's looking for, and he does that on every pitch. The Pudge be waiting his turn. But right now, Todd Worrell will face Mickey Tettleton. We were talking about Tettleton before, about the fact that his knees are gone. And on the left side of his pants leg, where the knee is, there is a zipper somewhere down there to help him get the pants on and off because he's wearing that brace. Johnny Oates says the doctors say there is nothing left in his knee, no cartilage at all, but here he is, only hitting 100, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, an unusual batting stance. Yeah, there's the zipper, so he can get out of the pants. Watch the way he holds the bat. It's been a Tettleton trademark. How about that for a different style? Mickey has had a wonderful career. He started professionally in '81 and first came up to Oakland in '84. He's the father of 2 children, Tyler 6 and Jessica 5, and he is worried about the knee, but he keeps trying to play. In other words, he's saying, I want to be able to go out and do things for my kids like that dad did for me. Go out in the backyard, play football or baseball or whatever. He owns a big ranch in Oklahoma. But he loves the game, bad knees or no. 2-time American League All-Star. Mickey Tettleton drives it to right, and Mondesi will pick it off. Friends, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Los Angeles Dodgers Incorporated, which also employed the announcers, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of the game without the written consent of the Dodgers is prohibited. 1 down, and here is McLemore. Ball 1. McLemore grounded out 3 times and singled, 1 for 4. On deck, Ivan Rodriguez. Right. Dodgers 6 runs, 12 hits. The Rangers 3 runs, 9 hits. We had 6 home runs in the game. 5 doubles. Home runs by Gonzalez, Palmer, Rodriguez, a double by Cedeno. 2 home runs by Karras, 1 by Mondesi, and doubles by Piazza, Mondesi, and 2 by Hollinsworth. And that's going to be a base hit. Well, with 1 out, Ivan Rodriguez coming up. And a reminder, stay tuned for News at 10. Hal Fishman, Larry McCormick, and Ed Arnold. A complete wrap-up of the day's events on News at 10 following Dodger baseball. Well, here's Pudge. Hit back to the box and fouled out, homered and walked. Breaking ball hit to Karras. He'll have to feed Worrell coming over. Eric, of course, wanted to get the front man, McLemore, but he couldn't do it, but he got the out. So 2 down, and Rusty Greer coming up.
Fielder, number 29, Rusty.
Also, it shows you a veteran pitcher like Todd Worrell never taking anything for granted. A rookie might see a ground ball to Karras and say, okay, I'll watch. But Worrell was there because he was needed. Rusty Greer, 3 ground balls and a base hit. And, of course, Greer has a very big at-bat. The last thing the Dodgers want is to have Juan Gonzalez come up there representing the tying run, and he's on deck. Strike. Worrell clocked at 94 on that pitch. One and one. $54,179, largest crowd of the year at Dodger Stadium. And what a game. That might be it. Pop foul, Todd Zeile. And the Dodgers win it, so the Dodgers in Texas split. And the Dodgers are at the 500 mark against the American League, but they're still 2 games under. They do pick up a game on the Giants, who lost. And the Dodgers now trail by 7. Once again, the final score, Dodgers 6 and the Rangers 3. Dodger Baseball has been brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller time. By Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. By the Pacific Bell Network, how will you use it? By Shell, moving at the speed of light. By Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Southwest Airlines, with fares so low you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. We'll be back.